Oh shit, that's the baseball one.
In the heat of a diamond where legends arise, smoking Jeremy B's got the stats that surprise. From the Tigers to Yankees, the action's alive. Big Rich and Jamie break it down, they thrive. Round table talks, the fans gather around. It's baseball season, watch the team strike gold. Every pitch, every catch, every tale that's told. From home runs to errors, we break it down tight. Join the round table talk, let's ignite the night.
Good evening and welcome to Fourth in Fantasy, a football show that I accidentally played the wrong intro for. I realized it after I hit go. I was like, oops. But Danny Fuller, good to see you in the chat already. This is my good friend, Austin Hacker of Haacked-In Fantasy Sports Talk. And we're here to give our top 10s. And I went by per position. He did overall, which is fine.
I did.
So I'll let you lead the top 10 overall discussion, and you can put why you put people there. And then
Okay.
I'll go into each position.
Sounds good. Okay, so I'm going to start from the bottom of my list and work my way to the top. So, and this is like Jamie said, this is a collective. So starting off the list, hey Danny, how you doing?
MDE is
Hey
in the chat.
MDE. So starting off my list is a great player, and I'm not necessarily saying he's a bad player. That's why I put him at 10. I put him at 10 because, as you say, Jeremy, the best ability is availability, and recently his availability has been a little iffy. So with that said, I'm putting Christian McCaffrey at my 10 spot.
Okay.
Looking at his stats from last year, he did play all 17 games. He had all 311 rushes, 1,200 rushing yards, averaged about 3.8 a carry, had 10 rushing touchdowns, and 7 reception touchdowns for 924 yards on 129 targets and 102 receptions. And the reason I have him at 10 is because he's got the few spells of the injuries the last few seasons, and he's entering his 9th season, and he just turned 30 this past June. So I really want to just kind of look at, and his workload last year was really, really high. He had 311 carries, so that's a lot of that's a big.
They had to use him a lot after Brock Purdy got hurt because they didn't trust Mac and Cheese to be good.
And yeah, but look at the I think it was the 2023 season, he had a big workload, and then 2024 he was riddled with injuries. I think that was the first year that he had the knee injury.
I think Kyle Shanahan, when he did his blood oath to keep Christian McCaffrey healthy this year, that's why he ended up in a car accident, and why Ricky Pearsall lost his ACL. It's transferring that health to Christian McCaffrey through a blood oath.
I hope so, because if he can stay healthy, Christian McCaffrey could end the season top 5, even top 3 fantasy running backs.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, with the age that he's at as a running back, 30 is kind of where we start to see a decline. So those are my red flags and concerns for him. That's why I have him at 10. 9, I have CeeDee Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
So Lamb, he played 14 games last season, had 117 targets, 75 receptions for just over 1,000 rushing or receiving yards, and only 3 touchdowns.
Which actually puts him below the league average last year for receivers, because they said the league average was 5.5.
Correct. He still is that elite receiver, and he's got the high volume. I just think that George Pickens breaking out last season kind of lowered his ceiling a little bit fantasy wise. Those two could still be like the top 2 wide receiver tandem in the league. And I don't know if Pickens will have a repeat season that he did last year. But he's my number 9 for those reasons.
Well, who's at 8? I'm intrigued.
At 8, I have Jonathan Taylor. He played 17 games last season, 323 rushing yards, 1,500 rushing
You mean
yards,
323 carries? Hello, P Dog. How are
carries
you?
for 1,500 rushing yards, averaged just under 5 yards per carry. He had the NFL best 18 rushing touchdowns, 46 receptions for 378 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. My concerns with Jonathan Taylor and why he's at 8, he had 369 touches last year. He's a heavy workload running back. And his efficiency dipped a little bit to 3.3 yards per carry over his final 7 games last season.
Thank you, P Dog.
But it's still like, with Christian McCaffrey, he's one of those, league winning running backs. So just because he's at 8 on my list doesn't mean he's a bad player. I just think the people above him are just a little bit better, I guess you could say.
Right. 7.
Number, I have Justin Jefferson. And
JJ.
I have Justin Jefferson. I have JJ or J Jettas, whatever, down there for a few reasons. The most one is I don't know what his quarterback situation is going to be this year.
It's going to be Kyler Murray. For everything I'm hearing out of camp, JJ only knows how to throw medicine balls. Even though he's taller and can see over the line, he can't see a throwing lane to save his butt.
Right. But looking at his stats from last season, he is, the best ability is availability. He played all 17 games last season, had 141 targets, 84 receptions for 1,048 receiving yards, 12.5 yards per reception, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, his touchdowns dipped dramatically from the year before.
Mm-hmm. And I do believe that was because of the quarterback situation that they had. Watching your live stream while watching.
Hey, and Austin likes to cook. That's a good combination.
I do like to cook. I love to cook. So he's still one of the best route runners in the league, and his last season was a statistical floor rather than his normal standard. I just think he had a bad season due to the uncertainty at the quarterback position and J.J. McCarthy just absolutely being dog shit.
Absolutely. Hey, at least you're here. Yeah, and J.J. McCarthy was dog shit, and Max Brosmer was worse.
Max Brosmer. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Number 6, I have our boy, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I agree with that one wholeheartedly.
17 games played, 172 targets, 172 targets on 117 receptions for 1,401 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns. He's arguably the safest wide receiver one profile volume efficiency and quarterback efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
172 targets in 2025 shows that the offense can still funnel through him. I have him at 6. I didn't put him on the top 5 just because of the offensive coordinator, change in Detroit. I still think Detroit's going to have an explosive offense. I just don't know what Drew Petzl's offense scheme is going to look like.
From what I heard, I think he's going to be spreading the ball around a bit more too. Bye, P-Dog. That's just what I'm hearing. He goes, it's not going to cycle through just one player.
Correct, and because of that, Detroit does have a lot of mouths to feed, including him, Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams,
Isaac TeSlaa, Greg Dortch.
TeSlaa. So we have a plethora of players to spread the ball out to.
Brock Wright, Ty Conklin.
I still think that he's going to be our go-to guy when we are 3rd and short or even 4th and short in those situations. But those are the reasons I have him at 6. Breaking the top 5. I have Jackson Smith-Njigba.
I agree wholeheartedly.
17 games played last season, 163 targets, 119 receptions, He led the league with 101,793 receiving yards, averaged 15.1 yards per carry, and had 10 touchdowns.
What up, Steve Bauer?
He's at number 5 because he led the league last season in yards. He had 119 catches. He can prove that he has the elite volume and efficiency. He's still ascending, entering his prime years as a wide receiver. My concerns with him is that 2025 was his breakout season, and I don't know how or if he's going to be able to repeat that. And kind of like Detroit, Seattle lost Clint Kubiak to another head coaching job, and so they had to get a new offensive coordinator, and we just don't know what their offense is going to look like. So that's why he's at 5. Number 4 is Puka Nacua. He played 16 games last season, 166 targets, 129 receptions for 1,715 receiving yards, averaged 13.3 yards per carry, and like JSN, had 10 receiving touchdowns. Now, why he's at number 5 instead of JSN is that Puka Nacua led all receivers in a PPR format per game in 2025. He had 129 catches for 1,700 yards, so he can provide both, the high ceiling as well as a safe floor. This guy's such a...
No, actually, I have right now 6 viewing on YouTube. You're just probably the only one on the phone view side, P-Dog.
But we appreciate you being here no matter what.
But we appreciate everybody watching, whether you're watching through the phone format or through the laptop portrait format or landscape, whatever you're watching. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Oh, what was that? Puka Nacua. So my concerns with Puka is, Stafford. He's still an elite quarterback, but he's entering his age is up there. Health concerns remain an important dependency on the offense, and his Puka's physical style of how he run routes and catches the ball can produce like a mixed games than prior season. He missed some games, so a little bit of a availability issue with him.
And plus, he believe they are still reviewing if he's going to be suspended to start the season because of that whole drunken stupidity he did this offseason.
Yep. All right, cracking my top 3. At number 3, I have Jamar Chase. He played 16 games last season, 185 targets for 125 receptions, 1,412 yards, averaged about 11.3 yards per carry, and had 8 touchdowns. So he's here because he has a massive target volume, creates an elite, PPR floor in that format. And we already saw overall wide receiver 1 upside with a healthy Burrow in 2024. If Burrow can stay healthy, is the keywords there. And that is my concern with him as well, is Burrow's health. Is tied very closely to Chase's overall ceiling. He averaged 11.3 yards per carry last season, which was below his earlier explosive standard. All right, now 1 and 2, I had to keep going back and forth from. And Jeremy, I'm pretty sure you know who I have at 1 and 2, or who I could put at. So
there's your wife.
What's up, wifey? At number 2, I have Bijan Robinson. He played 17 games last season, had 287 rushing yards. He had 14
carries.
Yeah, what did I say?
You said rushing yards.
287. It's how I worded it in my notes. That's why I'm getting tricked up.
Yep.
287 rushing or carries for 1,478 rushing yards. He averaged over the league average of 5.1 per carry and had 7 rushing touchdowns. And he's also that dual threat. He had 79 receiving yards or receptions on 103 targets for 820 receiving yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. So why he's at 2, he led the league for scrimmage yards with 2,298. And he just has that elite RB1, floor or ceiling.
And you're using your hand.
Quit critiquing me.
That's us German people. We do this a lot.
Exactly. My concerns with Bijan entering this season, he only had 11 total touchdowns last season, despite having enormous yardage. Um,
Hi, Megan.
Hi, German.
and Brian Robinson, although not nearly the running back that Bijan is, he still could eat up some of that short-term yardage work, goal line work, stuff like that. And finally, number one on my overall top 10 list is none other than Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yes.
Looking at his stats from last season, he had 17 games, 243 carries for 1,223 yards, averaged 5.5 yards per carry, 13 rushing touchdowns. He's also one of those dual threats. He had 77 receiving receptions on 94 targets, 616 yards for 5 receiving touchdowns, so 18 touchdowns total.
My man cave was designed to keep the evil girlfriend out. LOL.
I don't have one of those.
Yeah, he's got a wife. He doesn't have an evil girlfriend.
I don't have man cave or an evil girlfriend.
Oh.
So why is Gibbs my number one overall? He's got that elite rushing plus receiving combination, gives him a massive safe floor plus a weak winning ceiling. He expanded his workload, creates a realistic path to the overall RB1. My concerns with him is that heavier workload does create a more risk for injury. And the 18 touchdown set a bar really high. So a touchdown regression could narrow that edge over Bijan just lately.
Mm-hmm.
But there's my top 10.
I kind of agree with everything, except because there's no QB in Minnesota that we're guaranteed is going to be able to get him the ball. Because I'm sorry, we just watched Kyler struggle with the guy that's supposed to be the generational talent out of Ohio State and Marvin Harrison Jr., who was supposedly a Justin Jefferson type of rookie coming into the league.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If it works out, great for Minnesota. If it doesn't, man, I feel sorry for Jay Jetta being there.
At that point.
Talent-wise, yes. I agree that the Minnesota Vikings have one of the most talented wide receiver rooms in the league, along with Detroit. If DJ Moore was still with Chicago, I'd put DJ Moore close, maybe not the same as Minnesota and Detroit. You got to add the Rams in there. I think that's your top 3 in that whole conference in the NFC.
Absolutely.
And then you got to throw in Seattle, which I think they have a better wide receiver room with Jackson Smith and Jigba than Luther Burden and Rumadonze combined.
Mm-hmm.
You throw in the tight ends, it's hands down, it's Detroit, Minnesota, LA, Seattle, and then Chicago's still right there, just outside of that top 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because their tight ends makes them better. Colson Loveland and Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet's the red zone threat. Colson Loveland's the everything tight end. So while you did top 10 overall, I did top 10 per position because I didn't understand the assignment you were asking for. So I went a little different. So I used 2 different references and then did one of my own. ESPN, the QBs, I'm going to start there, and I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. ESPN had Bo Nix at 10, Dak Prescott at 9, Trevor Lawrence at 3rd, Joe Burrow, it has to be due to health reasons, at 7. But they had Jackson Dart at 6, then Jalen Hurts, then Drake May, then Lamar Jackson, which I agree with him being like at 3rd, then Jaden Daniels at 2. Jaden Daniels has had one good season and then was injured for a whole year. I can't even put him in my top 10 personally. And then, of course, I agree with their number 1 in Josh Allen.
Yep.
On Lindy's, they had Trevor Lawrence at 10, Okay, the way he's played the last couple of years, I think I could put him somewhere in that 8 to 10 range.
Absolutely.
Justin Herbert at 9 above Lawrence makes no damn sense, seeing how Trevor Lawrence actually beat Justin Herbert in a playoff game. It's something Justin Herbert hasn't done yet. He has not won a playoff game. Then they had Caleb Williams, a guy that
Good.
hasn't
Sorry.
broke 62% for completing percentage. He finally had a good year yardage wise, but and everybody says, well, a lot of those is intentional and drops. So I sat there and said, well, you ever thought that maybe he's throwing the ball too hard? Because he has that tendency to fire that ball in like Matt Stafford used to. And the only guy that could catch it consistently when he
Megatron.
was young was Megatron. Then they had Jackson Dart, then Jaden Daniels, then Jalen Hurts, then Joe Burrow. I agree with Joe Burrow being in that 4 through 6 range because of his health.
Mhm.
Then Drake May, then Lamar Jackson, then Josh Allen. So there's a consensus that number 1 is Josh Allen. So now let's get to my list. At 10, I put Drake May just because he got that team all the way to the Super Bowl. My honorable mention outside the top 10 goes to Bo Nix. I got Jaden Daniels at 9 because he did have that one good year. I'm not going to count an injury year against him, but I'm not putting him in my top 5. Trevor Lawrence at 8. I got Joe Burrow at 7. And I put Joe Burrow at 7 because until I see him play healthy for another year, I can't put him in my top 5. I put Jared Goff because of his durability. He hasn't missed a game since 2021, and that he only missed 2 weeks that year. The guy does not miss games. And he's also got the most touchdowns of any quarterback over the last 5 seasons by 11, trailed by Josh Allen, then Matthew Stafford. At 5, and you have to put him here if you have any sense whatsoever, because injuries like that normally don't happen to this guy. Patrick Mahomes is in my top 5. Then I got Dak Prescott at 4 because let's face it, other than 4 years ago, he hasn't been injured.
Correct.
Then I got Lamar Jackson at 3 because of his rushing ability and the danger in his athleticism. I got Matt Stafford at 2 after last season's performance and the year before, both years getting to the playoffs. They actually won a game. They didn't make it past, I think it was San Francisco that took them out, if I remember right, in that second round. Because it ended up being San Francisco and Seattle in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And then Josh Allen, number 1 overall. I agreed with that. And he is.
He's at 6.
Which list do you agree with more out of all of them?
Yours. Just because I agree with you. I don't think Bo Nix should be up that high just because he had that one good season. And I'm not saying he's not a bad quarterback. He is. I just want to see a little bit more consistency. If he can repeat that this year, then next year we can talk about him being a top 10 quarterback.
Right. And when we get to defenses, you'll understand why I put Bo Nix just outside my top 10. Because the number 1 defense, if anybody says anything other than Denver.
Right. And then I think the only thing that I kind of and not necessarily disagree with, but you could probably switch your 5 and 6 around and put Goff at 5.
And Mahomes at 6.
And Mahomes at 6, just because of that injury that Mahomes suffered, and that Goff has been has been healthy his majority of his Detroit stint.
Yeah, because passing touchdown wise, it was Goff, Allen, Stafford, Mahomes for touchdowns over the past 4 seasons.
Also, Jared Goff is like 4-1 against Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, he is. Add in college, and he's 6-1.
Even better.
All right, now on to the running backs. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with the ESPN, then I'll go to Lindy's, and I'll do mine. ESPN had Saquon Barkley at 10, Omarion Hampton at 9, Ashton Genty at 8, James Cook the third at 7, and rookie Jeremiah Love at 6.
Wow.
Devin A. Shane at 5, Jonathan Taylor at 4, Christian McCaffrey at 3, Jameer Gibbs at 2, and Behan Robinson. Um, I don't hate the list. The only thing I hate is Jeremiah Love even being on it.
He has.
I can't put a rookie on my top 10 overall fantasy picks. I just can't.
We don't even know what he looks like.
Now on the Lindy's, Chase Brown at 10, Josh Jacobs at 9, Ashton Genty at 8, Kenneth Walker III at 7, Devon A. Shane at 6, James Cook III at 5, Jonathan Taylor at 4, Christian McCaffrey at 3, Behan Robinson at 2, and Jameer Gibbs at 1. My list was Saquon Barkley at 10, Omarion Hampton at 9, Ashton Genty at 8, Kenneth Walker III at 7, Devon A. Shane at 6, James Cook, Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Behan Robinson, and topped it off with Jameer Gibbs. And I think that's the way they've been going mostly in the fantasy drafts I've witnessed. They've almost went in this exact order for the first 10 running backs off the board.
Yeah.
Do you, and my list looks a lot similar, but there's always one difference. I can't put Josh Jacobs in my top 10 anymore. He fell off last year. He dealt with some injuries. We still don't know what the NFL investigation is going to do with Josh Jacobs into what was happening. So
yeah, I think the only thing that I would do differently on your list is put Kenneth Walker probably at 5.
Above A. Put him at above A. Shane at least, right?
Just because, above Achane.
Because he does more touchdowns.
More touchdowns, and he was part of that Seattle offense that won the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, that's why I had to include him in my top 10. I couldn't believe ESPN didn't have him there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And had a rookie in there. The rookie one blew my mind when I saw it. I was like, what?
I mean, he could be an honorable mention or at 10 at the very, 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 very least, but not anywhere near top 5.
Now, this one was kind of weird because I think ESPN made their list pre-off-season drama. That's all I got to say. When I read it, you'll understand.
Okay.
10, Garrett Wilson. 9, Nico Collins. 8, Drake London. 7, Rashee Rice. 6, Justin Jefferson. 5, CeeDee Lamb. 4, Amon-Ra St. Brown. 3, Jackson Smith and Jigma. 2, Jamar Chase. And 1 was Puka Nacua.
Okay.
The Lindy's was Drake London, Tetaroa McMillan, Malik Neighbors, Chris Olave, Puka, Amon-Ra, JSN, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. That's a little closer to me. I think the ESPN one, they had some names on there. I'm like, what? Rashee Rice, Nico Collins, Garrett Wilson in the top 10 for wide receivers? So my list, I have Chris Olave at 10 and Tetaroa McMillan at 9. Tetaroa McMillan 100% is the one that the Carolina Panthers has been working for. He works great with Bryce Young and whoever goes out there, because remember, Bryce Young missed a couple games early. So I put Nico Collins at 8, CeeDee Lamb at 7, Drake London. Say what you want. Drake London has actually been more consistent than CeeDee Lamb the last couple of seasons. So I have him above CeeDee Lamb, and that was due to the fact he's available every game and producing at the same type of level. Then I had Puka at 5 because I want to see another year of this type of production out of him. It's been 2 years, but his production is limited because he misses 3 to 4 games a year because of how he plays, just like you mentioned.
Yep.
I got Jay Jettas at 4. JSN at 3, Amon-Ra St. Brown at 2, and Jamar Chase. And I'll ask again, which list do you agree with more?
Not ESPN's.
Having Rashee Rice in there when we already heard he's going to miss the first 4 games due to suspension.
That's crazy. I'm leaning towards yours. Lindy's is very close. It's closer than ESPN's.
I couldn't
But
put Malik Neighbors in there because he hasn't had 2 healthy seasons yet in the 2
yeah,
years he's played. I could probably say he's an honorable mention along with George Pickens and a couple of other ones out there.
yeah.
DK Metcalf is another one you could do an honorable mention on because
Hmm.
he had a resurgence, even though it was Karen Rodgers throwing to him. Now the tight ends one, it's kind of straightforward. Your top 3. There's 2 guys that have to be in your top 3, or I consider your list invalid. And both ESPN and Lindy's got it right. I'll start with the ESPN. At 10, they had Jake Ferguson. At 9, they had Travis Kelce, which I didn't get. He had a
Okay.
down year last year.
Yeah. Mhm.
Then they had Dallas Goddard. At 7, they had Sam Laporta. Harold Fannin Jr. at 6. Kyle Pitts at 5. Tyler Warren at 4, Colson Loveland at 3, Brock Bowers at 2, and Trey McBride at 1. Lindy's is a little closer to me. There's a couple discrepancies in here. George Kittle at 10, Sam Laporta at 9, Travis Kelce at 8, Tucker Kraft at 7, Fannin Jr. at 6, Loveland at 5, Warren at 4, but they put Kyle Pitts at 3.
What?
Brock Bowers at 2, and McBride.
Okay.
For me, because I need more consistency out of Kyle Pitts, he had a great year, and Kirk Cousins loves throwing to tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if Tua does. We know Michael Penix doesn't. So I put Kyle Pitts at 10, George Kittle at 9, Jake Ferguson at 8, Fannin Jr. at 7, Colson Loveland at 6, Sam Laporta at 5, Dallas Goddard at 4, Tyler Warren at 3, Brock Bowers at 2, and Trey McBride at 1.
Yeah. I'm close. Yeah, wholeheartedly agree with you with your list. Yeah, Kyle Pitts being up that high and those other 2 is insane to me. He drops he scored 1 game with 40 fantasy points. And that's it.
That's the game he had the 3 touchdowns and he was 7 on 10 targets. He had a hell of a game. But he actually caught him in the red zone. Why?
Mhm.
Kirk Cousins uses his tight ends in the red zone. He didn't for some reason, he must have taken his Benadryl that day because his hands didn't swell up the balloons and the football didn't bounce off him like he's Eric Ebron.
So we're probably going to see a big, uptick in usage for Brock Bowers now that Kirk Cousins is with the Raiders.
Yeah, but you did hear what happened over the weekend between Kirk Cousins and Max
I
Crosby,
did,
right?
Yes, I did.
Because Max Crosby doesn't care if you got the red shirt on, regardless of the quarterback, regardless of the situation. He's going to hit you.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Kirk Cousins got in his face about it, and it got so bad that it was a bench-clearing brawl, and the head coach, Clint Kubiak, said, I'm not going to have this shit between teammates. You 2 are benched until I say you're ready to come back.
Damn.
So Fernando Mendoza, welcome to the ones.
Yep. Which I think Mendoza is at some point gonna beat out Cousins for the starting job. It might not be this year, but we'll see.
So now I'm going to get into the defenses. ESPN had the Lions at 10.
Okay.
Browns at 9. I think this is pre-Garrett trade. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
Pats at 8. Philly at 7. Ravens at 6. And I think that was before the canceled Max trade there.
Mm-hmm.
LA Rams. Yeah, it had to be because Rams had at 5. Seattle at 4. Pitt at 3. Houston at 2. And Denver at 1. Lindy's had it Vikings, Chargers, Browns, Rams, Pats, Pitt, Jacksonville, Broncos, Seahawks, Texans.
Now let's see yours after the Max or after everything.
This is what I came up with. Eagles at 10, Ravens at 9, Chargers at 8, Pats at 7, Jacksonville at 6, Pittsburgh at 5, Rams at 4, Texans at 3, Seattle at 2, and Broncos at 1.
Okay.
And I went by not only scoring defense, yards allowed, because all of that goes into the defensive scoring.
Absolutely.
And the number one pressure and sacking team combined was the Broncos by a long shot.
Hmm.
I think they almost set an NFL record for sacks as a team. That used to be Jacksonville back in the day, but they just lost 10 of their sacks without even trying by not re-signing Devin Lloyd,
Yeah.
who's now a Panther. Um, Honorable mentions, basically the top 3 defenses from last year in the North, and in no particular order, Vikings, Bears, Lions.
Yep.
Those are my honorable mentions because I think every single one of those defenses regressed and gained at the same time, and I think they all gained more than they lost.
I'd agree with that.
And now everybody's favorite thing to overlook in a draft, a lot of people tend not to grab somebody unless they're absolutely elite.
The kicker?
Kickers. ESPN had Tyler Loop at 10, the guy that cost Ravens the season. Jake Bates at 9, Cam Little at 8, buttkicker.com at 7, Eddie Pinero, Kyrie Fairbairn, Harold Mevis, Myers, Dicker the kicker, and of course Brandon Aubrey at 1. That is the only thing that is consensus across all 3 of the lists I'm going to read.
Brandon Aubrey.
Brandon Aubrey at 1.
Mm-hmm.
For Lindy's, they had Boswell for Pittsburgh at 10, then Pinero, then Fairbairn, then Folk, then Jake Bates, Myers, Dicker, Little, Reichard, and Aubrey. I had it Boswell at 10, Pinero at 9, Folk at 10, Harrison Buttkicker at 7, Cam Little at 6.
Okay.
At 5, I had Dicker. At 4, I got Mr. Jake Bates. Then I got Will Reichard. Then I got Myers, and then I got Aubrey. And I'm sorry, Myers was the Super Bowl MVP.
Absolutely.
So, which list do you agree with more?
Yours.
And you notice, the only two guys that I put at the top of any list for our team was Amon-Ra and Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they earned that. The model of consistency with Amon-Ra St. Brown for 4 straight seasons. It's very unheard of that you see somebody get 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, 1,400 back to back to back to back.
Right.
You don't see that. That's Jamar Chase style. That's why he's my number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the second best wide receiver in the league because he has such a complete route package. He rarely drops. Last year was high for drops, and he only dropped 18 passes. I mean, that if we're considering that a high year for drops for him.
Right.
Whereas you might have 18 drops in a game if you're Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers.
I think there's an argument there too that you could put Jake Bates in the top 3 for NFL kickers.
Yeah,
it could go.
If we utilized him more for the field goals, I would. That's what moved him down
to 4
for me. Oh, I 100%. I do think Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in the league because Joe Burrow has missed 16 games out of the last 3 seasons, and yet he managed to rank in the top 5 every year with his consistency, not only in yards, but for touchdowns, yards after catch, all of it. And that's regardless who's throwing to him. And when Burrow comes back, his production triples.
Yep.
So there's only one game where he had less than 100 yards and only 1 touchdown last season.
Detroit Lions.
And he didn't get that touchdown until a certain guy that's no longer on the team was off the field due to an injury, a shoulder stinger.
Alex Anzalone?
Terrion Arnold.
Oh, Terrion Arnold. Yeah.
Put it this way, he had 3 catches on 9 targets and 39 yards with 0 touchdowns and no yak.
Yeah.
No yak. that and out of his 6 targets that were missed, 3 of them were pass breakups. So I like what I'm hearing out of camp so far. Austin, what else fantasy wise? Who are some of your? Have you thought about any sleepers yet?
Um.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah. Not like in depth a whole lot. But
If you need, if
I
you
mean,
with the super flex like we're doing in our keep our dynasty league, if you have the super flex
mhm.
for the extra quarterback or extra wide receiver or extra running back, and you really don't like your secondary quarterback that well, and you have to throw someone in because he's a touchdown merchant, you could always throw in Tyson Algier from the Cardinals because if they get in the goal line, he's going to get the ball.
Yeah. Hmm.
I he averaged 1.5 touchdowns last year because of the whole goal line issue.
Well.
That's why Robinson is either going to flourish or famine there with Atlanta this year at the goal line. He didn't get the touches at the goal line
Hmm.
a lot, and it's a different animal in the NFL than it is in college. And I want to see how he reacts in those situations.
I did think of one sleeper. I do believe he has potential to be an impact fantasy wise. Isaac Tesla.
Oh yeah,
I think that's a pretty it's a pretty good sleeper pick.
Megan messaged you just now, didn't she? I'm just playing.
She did not. She actually had my phone, but no, she didn't. I was thinking
I had to do
not
it.
to
I
go
had to do
homer,
it.
not to go homer or anything,
Um,
but
another guy that you could grab that's probably going to be a sleeper is Luther Burden. Burden is a
he
great deep threat.
he's
He
gonna
also
miss a
does
few
good on the
weeks.
slant routes. I think he's one of those guys that could help Caleb Williams if he stops throwing it at the ground, be a better quarterback.
Did you see that Burden's out for a few weeks though to start the season?
Oh, did he get hurt? Oh,
Yep.
that sucks for him.
He left practice. He left practice or either yesterday or today with a groin injury. And Ben Johnson has already came out and said that he's probably going to miss some time.
He misread the invitation. It was supposed to be a it was supposed to be a taffy pull at St. Peter's. Instead, he thought it was a Peter pull at St. Taffy's. Oh, and if you know the joke that's referencing, kudos to you. I know you're in my generation. So, other than that, are we looking forward to the fantasy football league starting close? We had
Yes,
football.
we have football.
We had football Thursday
We had
night, and
that.
I'm going to say that was the best Hall of Fame game I've ever seen.
Yeah, Carson Beck didn't look bad.
15 and 19, no interceptions, a touchdown,
Mhm.
and he looked efficient. He looked smart. He looked poised in the pocket. Um, but when he did get in trouble, he could not run. He is just like Jared Goff, Tom Brady.
He's a
Uh,
field general.
he is a field general type of quarterback. Uh, I, th- I think they'd have been better with Bryce Young in there, but I understand why they wouldn't put their starter in for that game, seeing how
Why risk?
both bookends are out. Why risk him being blindsided?
Correct. But can we talk about that pop? I can't remember who Carolina threw it to. But that was a football hit, and no flags were thrown, so it kind of felt good.
Yeah, it felt good to see a real tackle for a change.
Hmm. Maybe the NFL is healing a little bit. Doubt it, but
And what did you think about the new rule that came across the ref CBA? Did you hear about what's going on?
I did not.
A ref, if he does not hit a certain percentage point of correct calls, can be DFA'd to the UFL.
Hallelujah. Can we do that? Can we do that for all major league sports? Can we do that for
Wouldn't it
the
be
umps
great?
in baseball?
Well, they already do it in the NBA, and I think that's where we got the model from. The NBA started doing that. If you're under a certain percentage, the higher percentage, you do not get to be a ref in the playoffs. If you're under the next one, you go back to college ball. Great ideas. I
Oh,
love
I
it.
love it.
I wish it would happen in baseball. I wish it would happen in soccer. All of it.
All of them.
I
Yeah.
think this is probably one of the best rules that they put in for NFL refs ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that the NFL said, "Oh, you're entering the supplemental draft there, Mister. I bet on my Texas Tech to lose. We're just not going to have a supplemental draft this year."
Love it.
Sorry, my internet just like went
That's
wonky there for a second. It looks like it's doing it again. Well, that's it. We made it through the show. Austin, tell everybody where they can find you.
I'm over on YouTube at Haacked-In Fantasy Sports Talk. It's in my handle right there.
Yep.
I don't post a lot of videos on there, but I am going to be live every Sunday at 9:00 with Jeremy B, whose handle's above me, talking about football. And I'm so happy to have football back. It's been a hell of a long summer, I feel like. And maybe that's because we drafted in what, early June. I will never do that again.
I think what we're going to do up until the season is we're going to do this every other week. That way we can update injuries, hear the reports from other teams, report on some rookies and how they're doing that people want to hear about. I think that's the best way to do it until the season starts.
I agree.
So we'll do the next one in 2 weeks. So thank you, MDE. It was a pleasure to have you all in the chat. Thank you, Captain Danny, P-Dog, Yinzer, Steve Bauer, all of you. Thank you for watching. And, of course, Mrs. Hacker.
Yes.
She gave you some advice. And, look, you kept your hands low, and it looked good. You started doing this. You had it down below your...
Yeah, I had. I'll just put it in my pocket.
But, as always, try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. That's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here within us. Thank you for watching. We are out, and tune in tomorrow as I start talking about Detroit sports at noon. Yeah, and we are out. And now we get a better intro, one that goes for football.
Of the city where the nights stay alive, lions roar in the chat, we're ready to thrive. Smoking Jeremy keeps it lit, passion ignites. Keegan the villain knows the stakes are in sight. In the fan cave we rise, raising cups to the sky. Here in the lion's den, we're hungry for gold, for that Super Bowl glory. We'll never grow old. Raise your voice